Hi there, I'm Femi Oke, and this is where we do the takeaway news every morning. John sits there, Adora sits over there. It's so peaceful without them. So what am I up to today? Well, I wanted to do a rundown of some of our all-time favourite stories on the takeaway that either made us smile or those heartwarming stories that you remember amidst all the chaos and craziness that have been in our news over the last couple of months. So here's our rundown of stories that we loved on the takeaway. Hope you enjoy them as well. This is takeaway producer Kent Dipinto at work. Kent, you're faking it so beautifully.
Hi, Femi.
Hi there. Actually, Kent books a lot of the amazing guests on the takeaway. Tell us the kind of material that you've been booking recently.
Well, lately I'm afraid it's been kind of sad. We've been doing a lot of stories on the economy, a lot of story on auto workers and the bailout, and several bailouts actually. This morning we did something on Zimbabwe, so it's been kind of dire, unfortunately.
So, when I said, think of a heartwarming story that you've booked onto the takeaway, that you've been responsible for, that makes your heart sing. Look at that face. She's thinking about it already. What was the story that you came up with?
The story I came up with was this wonderful story out of Paraguay, where the U.S. ambassador to Paraguay, his name is James Kaysen, and he went to the country and decided when he was going to be placed there that he wanted to learn the indigenous language of the nation, which is Guarani. So the ambassador took Guarani classes, and he enjoyed it so much that he wanted to kind of dig more culturally into the Guarani culture, so he wrote a song in Guarani and then recorded an album of Guarani folk songs and released it in Paraguay. It was a great story. I mean, he ended up singing at the National Opera House, and some Paraguayan critics came out and said he wasn't that good, and then some people said that he was amazing, so it became this really great amalgamation of culture and politics, and someone really kind of going and trying to establish a bridge between our nations. So.
Now, you had to listen to some of the music before you actually booked him onto the show.
Yes, I did.
Okay. Give me some critical feedback on his singing.
Well, you know, there's lots of ballads, I think. And I don't know if I would necessarily listen when I'm at the gym, but, you know, if I wanted to relax and think about loved ones over
and
centuries.
it worked beautifully on the show.
It did, it did. It was wonderful.
Okay, this is the test. Hold on one second. Oh, my heart is warmer. That qualifies as a heartwarming story.
Yes,
Kent Dipinto, get back to Gorka.com.
Thank you.
See you, Kent. I don't know if I should be doing this because normally this woman is not allowed out during daytime hours. And there's a very good reason for that, because she's absolutely psychotic. But it helps to work on this program.
Thank you, Femi.
Do you hate me?
Yes.
Noel
completely.
K. She's very special. Actually, we were looking for heartwarming, amazing stories, and Noel has the best one.
I had no heartwarming stories.
Investigative journalism.
A few grim stories.
At its best. Noel.
Grease theft was the story. We noticed a story from around the country where industries or companies that recycle grease found that they were being ripped off by criminals who were using the grease to recycling it themselves and then selling it to people who wanted to fill up their cars with it. So essentially grease, when gasoline became very expensive, grease became a hot commodity. The detectives who track down the grease thieves call it liquid gold. So we tracked down one of the detectives and we talked to him about how he stakes out these very, very clever criminals and how he uses your typical gumshoe tactics. I mean, he follows people, he goes undercover. There was one family, he told us, about 3 generations of grease thieves. These people have been in the business of stealing grease for decades, and Detective Larry Finley was on the case, on their trail.
It almost sounds unbelievable, but it's absolutely true.
It was amazing. It was like a Cormac McCarthy novel because it's all across the Southwest, and this man is always on the road with his partner. He's a former cop from Austin, Texas, and they travel the southwest of the country for their employer, Griffin Industries, tracking down the people who rip off Griffin. It's a great story.
Noel King, everybody. Nurse! Nurse, you can take a patient now, nurse. Nurse!
You are so mean.
Ever wanted to know what Terrence McKnight looks like? What that really deep, raspy voice looks like? This is him. See the music library. Terrence, you're part of our compilation of stories that made us smile. But unfortunately, it's a joke on me, really, because I was talking to you. The very first time Terrence came on our show was on August the 1st of this year. You were in the studio getting ready for a segment. Take it from there.
I was getting ready for a segment on a Mozart festival. My first time on the takeaway. I've been listening to the show for a couple of weeks, and you know, with radio, you always try to get a sense of what people look like, match a voice with the face.
Yeah.
So I come on the takeaway, and 30 seconds after getting in the studio, my segment started, and I wasn't sure whether or not we were on air or not. I thought we were just doing like a test run. And
Because we make you feel so relaxed.
That's right.
Really natural.
Especially
are we
you,
live or
because
we're
you're
not
there.
live? Right.
And so I knew who John was. I knew who Adora was. And then you showed up, and you said something to me. And
I included you. I was inclusive in the
That's right.
conversation.
But you weren't supposed to be in there. I didn't know that you were.
And then
going
can
to
you
be
just can you do your reaction to the camera, because it's really
Well,
funny.
you know-
And you don't get this on radio, but Terrence will do it for you right
She's
now.
sitting there, and then this
I
voice.
say, hey Terrence.
Yeah, you say, hey, Terrence. In that voice. Say it again.
Hey Terrence.
That was my face.
See, what we were doing was, what I was doing all through the morning was the world's oldest jokes. British scholars had collected some of the oldest jokes, and these jokes are really bad. So what I was doing was I was craving your approval and laughter, and you gave me. So I'm going to give you a second chance.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. This is the very joke from August the 1st of this year. The Emperor Augustus is going through his empire when he sees a man who looks really remarkably like himself. He calls the man over. Come over here. Young man, have you ever had a mother who's been in the service of the palace? He said, no, Emperor, but my father was. That's the punchline.
And that's British humor.
From 63 BC, Terrence.
Yes.
It's an old joke. Okay. All right. That's it. Terrence, get back to work. I never liked your show that much anyway. Now, every morning I'm looking for that great piece of standout sound that I can carry through the morning and tell a good story. This next story is one that I really, really love. The banjo player that you're listening to is called Eddie Adcock. Now, he had a tremor on his plucking hand, I have to say that very carefully, on his plucking hand, which meant that he couldn't play the banjo anymore, could barely even pick up a pen. He went into hospital in Nashville to repair the damage, and what they did was they hooked up a pacemaker with an electrode that they put in his brain, and as he played the banjo during the surgery, they could see how it was getting better and better, and until the surgery was actually a success. So during the show you hear the banjo playing until it gets better and better and better. I love the story so much that we asked Eddie to come back on the show the next day and tell it all in his own words, which he did. And that is one of my all-time favourite stories from The Takeaway.
And how about now? No problems? Nothing, okay?
So this is the good bit, because I get to show you a little bit of the newsroom, so you can maybe even be able to hear people typing quietly in the background, and also meet some of the news team. This is Stephanie Hughes. Now, Steph, your first day was back in September, and we were looking for stories, like heartwarming stories, the special stories that make you smile, and you picked a really gross story. What was your heartwarming, grotesque story?
Well, you had found that PETA had asked Ben & Jerry's to stop using cow's milk to make ice cream and to start using human milk to make ice cream.
And then people kind of stopped and kind of missed the beat, and they, human's milk? Breast milk ice cream? Ooh. Okay.
And then you started to Google, and you found this sort of whole subculture of people who create different kinds of dairy products out of their
own breast milk.
Out of their own breast
There
milk.
was Hootersville breast products. There was yogurt made out of breast milk, cheese made out of breast milk as well, mother's milk productions too. And that was your first day?
That was my first day, and I thought this place is crazy. And I thought we were just talking about this. I thought this was just a subject for conversation. And then Femi went and did it as
On the radio.
On the radio. Yeah, and I thought this is, not the public radio I'm used to. And it's zany and crazy, and we can say things like that on the air. And it was really kind of exhilarating and fun, and it was a good ending to the first day. I remember that too.
Breast milk ice cream. Stephanie Hughes' heartwarming moment from this year on The Takeaway. Steph, you're disgusting.
I know. I am.
You fit right in.
I do.